Hey guys, Egg from Market, and today I want to make a new show called Obscure Game I Like. So most of you probably know that I have a show called Retrospective. It's a show where I talk about older game titles that came out for like 5, 6, 7, 8 years or more than that, just basically an old game, and I play it nowadays and try to look back and try to see kind of like where the game come from and where it kind of is now. Does the game hold up after all these years, after how long it has been? And I've done 2 episodes on it. Like I did one on Prince of Persia and another one on Mirror Age. I have planned for more episodes to come for a retrospective series. However, I want to also highlight some really cool new modern game that a lot of people don't take a look at. There's a lot of awesome older game that I would feature more on in that show, but I also feel that there's a lot of cool and interesting new game that come out every day that a lot of people don't take a look at, and a lot of people overlook, and they don't get the time to shine the light of day, and people don't get to actually experience or play the game, even though it might be possibly one of the type of game that they would probably really enjoy. So I want to make this show dedicated on a lot of these smaller indie titles sometimes, and sometimes even big name title as well, that sometimes for whatever reason went under the rug and doesn't sell too well. Not a lot of people know about them. So I want to just talk about the obscure game I like, what kind of thing I like about them, point out some of the stuff that I like, and well, what I think the game does like, and what other developer might actually look into adding similar mechanic or feature to their game, because this game does some of that stuff well. So to start off this episode, I want to start off a game that come out this year and not a lot of people talk about, or it doesn't get a lot of enough attention. At least I feel like it, because I actually tremendously enjoy this game, and it sucks to see that not a lot of people talk about it, even though it has a lot of cool mechanic and interesting design that I think would gel well to a lot of people, especially to those who play maybe card game or maybe enjoy Diablo type of experience. So what game I'm talking about here? I'm talking about Forced Showdown.
Welcome to yet another exciting round of Forced Showdown, the only show in the galaxy with lives on the line. As always, the rules are that the contestant must fight his way through numerous items, earning points along the way. Tonight's show will be Frontline. At the end of the hall stands the ultimate challenge, Ruby von Worthington.
The best defense is a lot of firepower.
So Forced Showdown is like a really cool game. It's a cool mix of genre into a game. I like to think of it as the Hand of Fate of 2016, if that makes sense. I feel like Hand of Fate, when it come out by combining so many different genres into one, like the whole Arkham combat style of game, and you have this type of card system, and then you have this type of like storytelling through all these cards. Different cards have different storytelling into it's almost like Dungeon and Dragon in terms of role-playing elements that go within it, and you also have gear and stuff like that. That's really cool when it comes to Hand of Fate, and I feel like Forced Showdown is exactly that, but it is in 2016, and it tried to do a little bit of different things. So it's combining what kind of genre I'm talking about. It combines a card game genre, very similar to Magic the Gathering or Hearthstone. You combine a deck, and within the deck there's stuff like equipment, baseline upgrade, one-time usable or 2-time usable items that you can only use for a few times, depending on you when you want to use it. And when you go into a game, it's this type of short level game that have the Diablo style of design going into it. It's kind of a game where you can kind of like move around, and then there's gonna be enemy around, and you can use your abilities, which is gonna have cooldown, similar to a lot of mobile games have a lot of those elements. When it comes to this game, you're fighting off minions and stuff like that, but they does that in interesting ways. So there's a lot of different enemy types, and there's boss battle, and there's a lot of random stuff going on. So when you go into a dungeon, they're random in such a way that it feel like a game show. So you have a lot of option to take. There would be like a 4 or 5 room you can take, and if you take one, and then you have to beat it twice, so you have to go through the room twice, and then you can go on the next area, and when you go on to the next area, you fight twice. Different room you can choose out of all the 5 rooms, and different room have different levels, and a lot of those levels can also be procedurally generated as well. So the game have a lot of replay values, and when you go into a level, there's also a positive or negative going into it as well. So if you get a positive attribute going into the level, maybe it gives you more health or maybe it gives you a magnet ability that allow you to attract orbs that you can collect, then there would be more enemy. But if you get a negative attribute, there's going to be less enemy. Like maybe when you attack the enemy come closer to you, there's like a magnet ability that attract the enemy to you, and that can result in you getting damaged more, because when you attack the enemy, they all of a sudden come close to you, and now you're going to be easier to be attacked by the enemy. They balance it really well. It's a really cool type of design, and it's procedurally generated, so every level you go into, it's going to be different. And one level have a lot of arena, so you would go through one arena, next one. A lot of them are really short, which I feel like a lot of that might be a complaint for a lot of you. But for me, for someone who play games, when I have a little bit of free time, I just want, sit back, go into it, and, go to one set of arena. One set of arena is like one room going for it. I can feel satisfied going to like one room and then fighting the boss and using all the stuff that I've been upgrading and using. And the upgrade process is, like I said, very similar to Magic the Gathering. So you would have mana every arena you go into. The first arena you have 1 mana, the second arena you have 2 mana. You can accelerate that with like the coin that you get, very similar to Hearthstone. I don't know if they call it the coin, but I always call it the coin because it's very similar to Hearthstone. And there's also different attribute that you get when you start the game that also affect that as well. There's a lot of upgrade that you can use the card to benefit into. Like if you play the Paladin looking character, I don't know what he's called, but he used a lot of light, and he would have this like burst attack as an AoE attack. So if you get an upgrade, you can have that AoE triggering twice. Like you press it go boom, boom, right, and boom. If you get the 2 upgrade, if you give it 1 upgrade, then it's gonna go boom, boom, right, go twice. So it's really cool the way in which you can plan your deck. You get more card by buying a random number pack, right? And a lot of people will say, oh shit, I don't want to do that, because if you buy pack, does that mean does the game have microtransaction? Actually no, the game doesn't have any kind of microtransaction at all. Like it astounded me and surprised me so much when I realized that this game have no microtransaction at all, and it's a fully paid game. There's a DLC, however, the DLC come out way after the game is out, so you really can't complain that should have been in the game, because they have been developing the DLC for quite a while as well. And within the game itself, there's a lot of content, Okay, so there's arena, right? Arena is really short. So a set of arena make up like a level, and in one level you can pick between 5 of them. You only need to beat 2 of them. Then when you beat 2 of them, you go into the next set of room with the 5 of them. And when you beat that, you can go forward until the end. And when you beat the end, then you finish once. I think they call it one show or one episode, right? Because they treat it as a game show. That's the whole theme of the game, the whole design of the game. They treat everything like, oh my god, this is a game show, and there's a camera flying everywhere, seeing you do this kind of stuff. It's like a game show in a World of Warcraft world, if you think about it that way. Like these are like kind of like character very similar to design in terms of like World of Warcraft or Diablo or these type of medieval type of fantasy story. So yeah, it's like, what happened if we have kind of like a cool futuristic game show with these characters? What would it be like? And that's kind of like the whole aesthetic design of the game, which is also really, really fun. So yeah, I like the game a lot. And like you can choose your companion, and within the gap in the level, you can collect orbs, which allow you to upgrade your boon. I don't know what they call it, but it's basically it's like a passive upgrade for your character that you can get in between set of level, which is sometimes can be useful, but usually it's not that useful. But it make you a little bit objectively better as a character, but it go away after you finish an episode, right? So when you start a new episode, those boon go away. There is also an achievement system, and like when you unlock any achievement, that also give you kind of like a passive upgrade that increase your overall character attribute as well. That one can be more debatable whether or not that's a good design, because that make you objectively better, but it's a single player game, so it doesn't really matter too much whether you get much more powerful or not. And I think it's cool because this achievement system kind of encourage you to try different episodes as well. The game have 2 or 3 episodes coming right out of the box, and I think you can buy 1 DLC for 1 additional episode. I actually spent a lot of time playing the same first episode, but if I want to unlock more achievement that actually objectively help my character, I should be actually playing a lot of other episodes as well, and slowly you kind of earn more characters as well. So I talked about the Paladin character. Later on there's a character that use bow and arrow, I think, like, and kind of shoot it, and it has to be really accurate. If you use the controller, I feel like this character is not that good, which I use the controller even though I play it on PC. The bow and arrow character is not too suitable for controller usage, but it's super overpowered if you're using it on mouse and keyboard, because you can be very accurate with the bow and arrow with mouse and keyboard and use it to take out enemy, and you can be very precise about it. And there's also a character that is a melee character. I don't like him too much. He's kind of badass. It feels awesome to play as him. However, when you are meleeing enemy, you have to get pretty close with the enemy and you're gonna take a lot of damage, and health is something really important, because when you go from one arena to the next, your health doesn't regenerate. So if you lose half your health within the first arena, you kind of fuck, right? You kind of fuck. By the time you get to the second, the third one, you're in a really rough spot, unless you pick a card in which would, you know, help you regenerate your health, which there's some card that like, oh, this card is like 2 mana and it help you regenerate 80 health. Maybe that's cool. Like I said, there's no microtransaction when you buy card. It's random, however, but when you start getting duplicate for your card, you can transfer that into, I feel like, a gem system, and you can put that gem system into trading for a rare card. So it's really cool. The game kind of have a lot of system in it to make it fair for player, make it fun for you to play, and the game is not disgusting when it comes to trying to take your money away. And I got the game really cheap as well. It was on discount on Steam. I get it for like 200 something baht, which is insanely cheap for this type of experience. I'm getting like procedurally generated, like almost unlimited gameplay potential, lot of card, lot of different characters, and lot of different set of card that I can go into a level that is going to be different every time I go into it. So yeah, it's a really good value for the buck. And I don't know what is it in US, maybe like $7 or some stuff like that, right? So it's not too expensive when I got it on discount, which it would probably go on discount again if you wait for it. I'm sure Steam always have a discount for this type of game. But yeah, it's super fun, it's super cool game, it's very obscure, like the point of this show is about. Not a lot of people talk about it. I read some review that oh my god, I read them like, okay, you are right, but like that's the most lazy way to put it. You know, I heard a lot of reviewers saying, oh, it's trying to be too many things and being nothing at the same time. And I'm like, really? Is that your argument for a game that's trying to do something new and creative and different and fun? I see a lot of that in game media now, you know, oh, this game is trying to be too many things. Well, if it tries to be one thing, then it's going to be boring because it can't compete with other types of competitor, right? You know, if I want to make a first-person shooter game, I can't beat Call of Duty, I can't beat Battlefield 1. Look at it, like the insane beta, and like 100 million of people are playing Battlefield 1 beta right now. And like, it's crazy. How are you supposed to compete with that if you want to make, I don't know, a multiplayer first-person shooter without a cool, interesting gimmick or a cool design that is going in, right? And like, if you want to make Forced Showdown a Diablo game, right? How are you going to compete with that? There's Path of Exile, there's Diablo, there's so many different games trying to do that now, and so many of them doing it so well. Like, why not add a cool spin on it? Why not make it a TV show? Why not make it kind of like a parody of its own theme and element? Why not make it a card-based system game? Why not give play a lot of things to do? Why not make it a procedurally generated world that is going to be fun for player to play and engage themselves in? So yeah, I love this game. I have a lot of fun with this game. It's one of my favorite game of this year already, and I hate the fact that no one is talking about it, and so I make this video. Yep, those are usually my motivation when I make this type of video. You know, I have something to talk about, and that's why I want to talk about it. I wouldn't be making this video if I weren't being completely honest with you about what I feel and kind of like the stuff that I like and stuff that I have interest in. And that's the whole point that I make this show, to inform you guys, to tell you guys, to kind of tell you guys a little bit about what I like and what I don't like about certain type of game that you may as well find it interesting but you might never have heard about. And it's also really probably going to be helpful to both the people who are watching the video, the player like you guys and like me, right, to find ourselves a new type of game that we have never heard of. And it's also probably good for the developer as well, because they need someone to talk about their game. You know, they make great game, but nobody's talking about it, and that's the problem that we live in today, because, well, there's too many games out there, and sometimes if you don't have enough marketing push and people talking about it, then your game doesn't go anywhere. And that's just the reality of it, and it kind of sucks. And I'm here to help soften the blow, I guess. So yeah, this has been obscure game that I like. Hope you guys like it. This is the first episode. More are coming soon. Thank you for watching, and see you guys later. Peace.
A wonderful performance from our contestant tonight. I guess you can play with fire without getting burned. He has earned his prize.